This is a Zenith, 1936 or so. I'm sorry, the lighting is not really the best here, but you can see it's in okay shape. The cabinet needs to be refinished. It's had some work done. I'm just going to go over here and just flip it around. See, it's had a new power transformer at some point. That's been replaced. It's had some tubes replaced that was not originally a metal tube. Cabinet needs to be glued back together. Not too bad though, really. This capacitor's been replaced. Speaker's original. So let's pull the chassis and we'll see what we've got. Okay, I've unbolted the chassis. We're gonna go ahead and pull this out. Hopefully you don't get any surprises in here in terms of nesting animals. Come on. It's clearly this chassis supports are gone sticky. Love when that happens. Come on. Maybe. Come on. This side is loose, the other side not so much. What is going on here? That's out. Okay. Okay. Got it. Let's find out here what we're dealing with. Hopefully it won't be too bad. So, it's had a lot of work done. Transformer is the most obvious thing replaced. Now, why was it replaced? Filter capacitor shorted, maybe? Got a new filter capacitor there. New one there. That's pretty typical. One replacement. This is an electrolytic. That's a replacement, I think. These are really nasty. Oh, good. This is the model number 6S27. You can see that there. I'll save that and re-glue it to, I think it went on the side of the cabinet, inside. Really nice, big space to work. So these are always fun to work on because, you know, it really is easy to work on. Got a couple bad grommets that needs to be replaced. Hopefully this replacement transformer, which has been clearly taped in there, hopefully that's still good. Lose that. I mean, really no big surprises. So something kind of interesting here. This is an 80. It doesn't have a number on it, but it's 4-pin tube. Socket's been replaced, so I bet transformer's been replaced. Candom looks not burnt or on fire or anything crazy, so I bet I know what happened. This radio originally used a 5Y3 or a 5Z4. Bet someone had a 5Z4 in here. It probably had a heater to cathode short, which they tended to do. They're built a little bit like a 6X5 or an 84 tube. And I bet it had a heater to cathode short. It probably took out the power transformer and someone replaced it and said, you know what, let's put the good old 80 in there because, you know, at the time, people had lots of those tubes hanging around. This probably was in the 40s. And, you know, during the war, things were a little limited. You could only get what you could get. and I bet that's exactly what happened. All right, here is the Zenith cabinet. I have stripped off the finish, and I've also glued this front piece, which was coming apart. I've started filling the, oh, that's a better view. Started filling in these nicks. Once I sand that, it'll be smooth. So that looks pretty good. I might do some more sanding. I haven't really done much sanding on this. You can see the veneer on the side is cheap stuff. This was a cheap radio relatively, and the nice veneer was saved for the front. So you can see what they did there. They just kind of, made it look nice in the front, side and top and whatever, exactly. So once I sand this down a little bit better, it'll be then ready for the grain filler, which you have to put in here. You can see, especially over here, you can see the grain has an actual texture. So like right here, and you have to fill that grain so that you get a nice smooth finish. If you miss that step, yes, it'll look okay, but it'll actually, the clear lacquer will go inside the little ridges of the grain, and it won't be right. You really want to do it right, and filling the grain is the right way. Now on the side here, this grain is not as open, so it probably doesn't matter as much, although I'll still do it in case there's any little splits or anything. So I've gone in here and I'm just patching up the pieces here. I'm gonna fill that once it dries. I've done that one already, and then I'll sand it back and it'll be nice and even. Little dings here, I'm trying to do my best. I'm not too crazy about that. I'm worried more about the depressions in the wood here. So I'm first testing some of these tubes. This is the 6F6. It looks like it's really hot. Okay, give it a second to warm up. It is dead, very dead. Okay, this is the 6H6. Doesn't seem to do anything. Huh. Yeah, here's the 6K7. That's good. Great. Here's another 6K7. Also good. Okay, this is a 6A8. There's two sections in this. I don't know if the numbers are right. Sometimes they're not. So I'll try it. Okay, that's good. This section here seems to test weak, although I've tested other 6A8s, which I know work fine, and it tests like this. So I think it may be one of those things where it's below a certain amount is good. I'm not really sure. Anyway, it is what it is. We'll find out. The test will be the radio. I know the output tube is bad, so that's that. Okay, here's another 6F6. That one tests good. So we'll use that. So, you can see I changed all the capacitors at the top here, and there's none down there, but you can see it's been recapped. Now, I will go ahead and replace this can dome at some point. It mostly tests out okay, which I was a little surprised, but I mean, tests okay, so it's okay, I guess. What else do I have to do here? Well, the power transformer. I have the new one. I went ahead and I bought it. And, was not cheap. It was a little painful, actually, but, I'm just like, whatever. At this point, with this radio, I just want it to work. I want it to look good. And so I spent the money on a nice Hammond power transformer, which you can see right here. Made in Canada. So that's brand new. I also need to deal with the mounts for the, what do you call it, tuning capacitor. I have a bunch of grommets somewhere around here, and I think I can find one that will work. I need 3. I also need to deal with the dial belt. I've got to deal with the dial itself. I probably will clean the inside. Usually they get dirt inside behind the numbers, and they don't light up as bright, so I want it to be nice and bright. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. The interesting thing about this transformer, I'll just show you, it has a tap for 115 and also for 125. So if I connect the black and the white, I get a 125 in. I might do that, even though our voltage is not that high. It's about 118. I might do it because it'll make it last a little longer. I'm also going to put a fuse in here, and I will also need to put a resistor across this capacitor here. That is in replacement for the field coil, which is, the field coil, which is definitely bad, until at least I can see if I can find someone who will rewind the field coil. I can't do it myself. I don't have the equipment. You know, I just don't have a way to do it, and I think it'll be easier to just get someone to do it who knows what they're doing. Okay, so we've got the power transformer here. This is the new one. Let's take a look. We have our diagram here. So basically, I wish they could put this on a printed copy, but it's pretty straightforward. You have your white and black. This is the new transformer. It looks a little smaller than the old one, but it's actually, the core is bigger. It's actually about the same size with a bigger core, so it's probably actually more robust than what was in there. So you can look at the chart and you'll see that green and yellow are the filaments. So yellow is going to be the 5-volt filament for the rectifier, and green is the filament for the rest of the tubes. On the other side here, you have red and red. Those are the high voltage, and the center tap is this red with the yellow stripe on it. That's the center tap. Then you've got yellow and black is 125 volts. Yellow and white, or beige, or whatever this color is. So this is where I want to connect the incoming line voltage. Now, I could see our voltage here. I mean, if this were just at my house only, I would probably have it connected to the gray and white, which is 115, because we have about 118 here. But, you know, given this could be plugged in anywhere, you know, my thinking is that it's probably best to do the black and the white, which would give me up to 125. So that may mean that the voltages in the set are a little bit lower, but that's okay. I mean, if it's a little lower, it's okay. If it's a lot lower, then that's a different problem, and we can remedy that. I mean, basically, I can tape this off, leave it, and then when it's when I'm really sure that it's good, I can just tie. Well, actually, to be honest, I could just tie it up like this and tape it, and it should be fine. You know, just do that and leave it like that, and that way if someone wants to use it in the future, then they can. The mounting holes are still there, And in fact, can we do this nicely? No, we can't do it nicely because that would be too easy. So unfortunately, like I said, this transformer is a little bit smaller. So I could mount it like this. That would definitely, that would work. Now, let me think about this. Yeah, that's probably the way I'm gonna have to do it. Now, sometimes when you do this, there's a whole thing about being in phase with other components, and this may cause an issue. I've seen them mounted both ways. You can also, obviously, if it's a one of these, you can mount it like that. But I think I'm going to try it this way and just see, you know, what we end up with. So I'm going to run the wires through here, and we'll just stick them through, and then we'll do a. Yeah, I mean this is really the way that it wants to be mounted, and that's okay. These garbage, I'm not going to reuse this junk. Okay, we've got some new Phillips screws with nuts. This should work fine. I know originally they would not use Phillips on these, but that's fine. So we'll do one here. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Transformer is mounted. I know it does not look original, but it is better than original. So that's nice. That's on there. It's very solid. It's not going anywhere. And we're just going to wire it up now. All right, we got the power transformer wired up. So everything's in here. I've put a fuse up here. This is just tied to the side of the chassis. That's all right. I used the black and the white, so it gives me 125 volts in. I put a new power cord on it. That's tied up there. It's not going to go anywhere. Soldered into here. This is pretty solid there. I put the center tap, of course, is down here. This, I added a little extra lead length because I do want to replace this can dome at some point. So that will be, you know, coming up soon. Oh, the only other thing I need to do, which I guess I can do now, is put in a resistor across for the field coil, because we obviously know that the field coil is not working. I think I have a 1.2K, which, yeah, actually, wait a second, what do I have? I have a 680, which is a little bit low. Do I have a 1K? Even if it's just a, I don't think I have a 1K. Oh, I might have, I have a 5 watt. That's not enough. It's really got to be a 10. I don't see, no, I don't see that I have one. 1.2 might be it. It'll still work. The voltages will be low, but you know, at least it'll, like I said, it'll bypass the field coil, and at least I can get it to play. So here's our resistor. We'll just stick that in there. Okay, I stuck in a resistor there. So this is a 1.2K. It might be a little high, but at least we've got the B plus connected to the rest of the set. So then from there, what we have to do, and I did just FYI, I replaced this electrolytic here with a 33 microfarad instead of a 10. So that should eliminate most of the hum. That's the second one. The first one is a 10, but the second one is 33, so that's fine. And then, like I said, put this resistor in there. That'll get pretty hot, but that's okay. It's got, you know, a decent amount of space around it. And like this chassis is very deep, so it should have plenty of opportunity to stay relatively cool. I might just move this electrolytic. I don't really like that too close to there, so that's okay. What else do I have to do? that's about it. I need to find an output transformer that will work with this. Okay, here's the cabinet. It's coming along. The front panel's a little bit warped, but we're just gonna have to make it work. And it doesn't look too bad. So, you know, you can see a little bit there. It's a little warped to the bottom. You know, it is what it is. It's 90 years old. It's got a little bit of issues there. I mean, ideally this whole piece could be replaced, but I'm not going to do that. It's just not worth it right now anyway. But this will at least make it look decent. Well, what I decided to do is I have the what do you call it, hooked up to the other side of the field coil, the meter hooked up to the other side of the field coil. I have the output transformer hooked up. You can see my very safe connections here, you know. And then I've got a other speaker, which you can't really see over here. I'll just walk you over. I've got that hooked up to the output transformer, the other side of it. So all I'm trying to do here is to see, do I even have a radio that's going to work? I'm going to turn that on. Let's see if this does anything. We're going to go very, very slow. 15 volts. Yeah, I got a couple volts coming up. This is good. Just going to go slow. We're 30 volts in. I'm not seeing anything really crazy. And I am seeing voltage on the other side of the field coil, so that's good. Or, well, it's not really a field coil. No, we're definitely seeing voltage. Got a small speaker hooked up, so it probably won't sound that good, but that's okay. We're at about 50 volts. Probably won't hear anything until about 70. 70 volts. Should be hearing something. Oh, I do. Okay. Bring it up a little more. I don't know where we're at in the volume. I hear a... Yep.
News. One bad and one really bad. Which one do you want to hear first? Seriously? Okay, tell me the bad one first.
Well, we got a radio. So that's what I wanted to hear. So it's obviously picking up stations. I'll put that back. So the question is now, put all this stuff away. Now I have this hooked up. So I thought I'd try something new here. This is the can dome replacement. I put some tape on the back to insulate it, but I'm going to mount it with standoffs in here. So it will essentially go just like that. And that'll be all the resistors in this can dome. There's about 6 of them. And you can see here that this is mounted directly to the chassis for heatsink purposes. But like I said, they like to short to the chassis. And we don't want that to happen because there is B+. There's B+ on one side and ground kind of over here in the middle. So you really don't want that to short. So, you know, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Once we're done with that, I did mount the output transformer here. So this is good. It's connected. It's solid. It's not going anywhere. This is the replacement speaker and output transformer. I bought 2 of these. The other one went with the airline. And So what I have to do once I get this mounted is then disconnect everything here and resolder. Now, what I could do, if I really wanted to, which I'm not sure about, I could drill out the old can dome and remove it and replace it. I've done that. I might do it here. Not sure. Haven't decided. The easy way to do it is to just drill some holes and mount it right here. Looks like we're about to get a storm. Okay. So that's cool. Okay, so I'm putting in the resistor replacement strip. I've got these little standoffs I'm using. You can see them. Put them here. I drilled 2 holes. I don't like to drill holes, but we're doing it. So I'll be back when this is done. Okay, it's installed. I put both sides in there. I've wired it up so it's connected. The old can dome, you can see it's kind of hard to see because, you know, it's in there, but there's nothing connected to it. So that's good. That's done out of the circuit. I'm going to just go through here and clean it up a little. I'm going to also wire in the new speaker. I'm going to connect it directly to these terminals. I'll just run a couple wires up to it. I wired in the speaker, put wire on it. Guess we'll power it up. I got the big resistor in here for the field coil because this is a permanent magnet speaker. Unfortunately, the old speaker needs to have the field coil rewound, and that's really beyond my skill. I may at some point send it out to someone who knows how to do it. You know, I know people do this. I see people do it, but it really is a lot of work, and it's a lot of equipment, you know, at least a winder and a lot of wire and everything else. And you know, I have other things that I have to do, unfortunately, so I can't just spend hours to rewind a field coil. But I can at least make a radio work, so that's what we're doing. Anyway, got this done, got that done. I'm just going to check some continuity or to make sure there isn't, and then we'll power it up. All right, so I have this hooked up to the second filter capacitor, and I'm going to turn the power on, and I'm going to turn this on. I'm just going to bring it up real slow to 15 volts. Just going to wait. Get a little bit of dial light here. Definitely getting some voltage. We're at like 35 volts, 40. I think the last time I plugged this in, it was playing around 80 volts. It's going down, that's good. The tube's filaments are warming up. Let's see if we got, okay. I find this set of pliers to be, yeah, we got some audio here. Let's see if we can get a station. This problem is tuning capacitors.
Beckley is the Suffolk County Commissioner of Emergency Services, and he says first, take the time to buy a waterproof box and put home inside that box, like passports, social security cards, certificates, insurance paperwork, anything you believe is important, put in that box, and you can take it with you if you need to evacuate.
Take it with you if you need to go.
Sign up for our Smart 911. What that will do, when there's a storm coming, we'll send you alerts so that you're aware of it.
And Suffolk County has been very proactive when it...
Well, it works. So that was at 95 volts. So it's definitely volume's a little low, but we can look into that. It probably needs an alignment, if nothing else. And I think I tested the tubes on this. I can't remember. So I'm just going to show you here. The dial belt goes in here, and you know the problem with this is, yes, I can kind kind of tune it like this, but as soon as they let go, it just goes right back to the main open position, which is not what we want. And certainly I can't do much in terms of alignment with the pointer not going where it's supposed to go. So unfortunately, got to get that dial belt in. Now the other thing, while we're doing dial belt, you can see that this is a little, yeah. Plus you've got some really nasty grommets that need to go. So, you know, it'll need new grommets and it'll need the dial belt, and this will need to be cleaned up. So, you know, it's, before I can do anything more, I really need to get those parts. All right, so I've got this Zenith here, about to change the dial belt. I've already changed the tuning grommets, although it is a little bit floppy. I don't know what's going on there, but I'll have to revisit that because it should not be like that. Although I think with the belt on there, it might be tighter. I don't know. We'll find out. So in order to change these grommets, this needs to come off. That pulls straight out. And then the pins on this dial face need to come out, which I can get them out from behind here. So we should be okay. Let me work on that. Got the dial off. The unbelievable thing here is these are still intact. Usually they are completely destroyed from the heat of the lamps, but they're not, so we're going to leave them. I'm going to clean this out a little, and we'll go ahead and loosen these screws and put in a new belt. The new belt has to go in through this center piece there. And in order to get the bottom piece in, this will have to probably be removed, which is kind of a pain. Oh boy. Okay, so I removed this piece here to get the belt on, so now that's on. And then the other side here, come across, and I've done it here. I gotta put all this back together now. I think I lost a screw, of course. Okay, we've got the Zenith back together here. I've got definite tuning that works, so that's great, which means I can go ahead and do an alignment on it. Okay, so we got this powered up. It's working. Volume's all the way up. Not getting a lot of audio.
Joy and get connected.
So I'm going to put that between stations. Do a little bit of an IF alignment here. I think, let's see. My guess is we got, oh boy, that's a little too much signal. Let's attenuate that a little bit. Hello? IF seems pretty good. So now to do this, I don't know if you can see my, yeah, you can. So this has these weird, I'll show you, these little things here. Oh, sorry. The screw with the nut around it. So what you do is you turn the screw and that adjusts one side. That is just one side of it. Pretty strong signal, actually. And then you do the of course it's dirty, but yeah. Let's try this one. That's pretty good. Okay, that's better. Really? Sometimes it's going to be tough to do, but pretty good. We'll do it one more time. All right, now let's pull this off. Let's see what we got for stations.
For Politico and author of Politico's New Jersey
Way
Playbook.
too loud.
Welcome. Let's start by looking at Bob Menendez. Menendez is not on the ballot today. He says
It's better. Definitely better. All right. So what I'm going to do is go up to the higher station, see how the... Go to like 1300. We have church radio in there. This is Jesus Radio. Let's see what we've got for that.
Lord Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com. Click on the red box. Order the Lord Teach Me to Pray series.
Definitely better.
800-403-5569 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today. Free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-403-5569. That's 800.
This is playing out as a more moderate Republican who might stand a better
Sounds
chance in the general
good.
election in New Jersey, though still a long
Okay.
shot, versus a Trump loyalist who says the 2020 election was stolen and all those.
Shut that off. So the alignment's good enough. It's pretty close. Unfortunately, this is signal generator. It's really difficult to use. It doesn't allow me to dial in a precise number. It's 252.5 is the exact number on this, and unfortunately, I can't do that. So I got pretty close, but it probably could be better. Unfortunately, like I said, I can only do so much. So the next thing I want to do, because like I said, we replaced the transformer, we did some, modification to things. In order to power this on a little more gently, where are they? I have a little bag full of them. I don't know where they are. Anyway, they make these things called a thermistor, or CL90, I think is the part number, or CL80, depends on what you have. I thought I had, oh, here they are. So it's these little things here you can see. And, what these do is they heat up, and when they're cold, they have a lot of resistance, so they don't allow the thing to draw much current, so it basically allows it to warm up slowly. And I like these for anything with a a weird power switch, that like you have something with an odd power switch that's really hard to replace. These are great. The other reason, where I put it, the other reason to use this is if you have a radio that the B+ typically goes real high when you first power it on, and anything with a 5Y3 or an 80, some 80s, it depends on the radio, it depends on the transformer, but something with a fairly high what do you call it, the secondary, high voltage secondary with a 5Y3, this is nice because it allows the B+ to kind of ramp up a bit more slowly. Without this, the B+ can go to 475, 500 volts easily. And that's fine. That's how it's designed to do it. But I do like to put these in because they just help things warm up a little more slowly. They help reduce any potential arcing on the band switch. Now, this doesn't have a big band switch tower thing that some of these Zeniths do, but some of the Zenith consoles have these crazy band switches, and the B+, the high B+, and the power on, eventually, like a common fault with them is the band switch starts arcing, and if you have one of these in place, it does not do that, which is what you want. So, because we are trying to, I don't know if this is going to work, because we are trying to make this as reliable and safe as possible, we're gonna do this, and it's very easy. All we need to do is take you over here, is put a terminal strip in, which we can do here, or we can put terminal strip in here. You can do it anywhere. I mean, it could be down here, although I don't like that. Doesn't really matter where it is. Actually, here's probably pretty good, because we can just put the wire right there.
Within a coma all 4 years, the government would effectively run the same way. As long as somebody in the White House could sign under his name, it wouldn't change anything. And we would rather have that than Kamala Harris take over if they can manage.
The very time that gun purchase happened. Hunter Biden is the first child of a sitting U.S.
Good old Hunter Biden.
The White House. Speaking from City
My
Hall,
B plus is a little low, but
and William
that's okay.
To the order.
We, the cities, need relief. So I'm hopeful that what this will look like will, we'll go back to the good old days when we just had, a couple of people who were coming
good
into
volume.
The DHS system.
I'm not mad. Yeah, we got lots of volume, and it seems sensitive. So I think we have a radio that works, which is great. And like I said, I like to have those in there. It does reduce the B plus just a little bit, because what it's doing is it's reducing the voltage going into the transformer by about, 5 volts. I mean, on a radio like this with its original transformer, that's wonderful. On a radio like this with a new transformer, it doesn't matter, because the new transformer is meant to deal with 125 plus volts. I mean, it could be 127, and it'd be fine. We have about 117 here. It never really deviates from that. I've seen it at 118. I've also seen it at 115. So for here, I don't even bother half the time putting something in. But, I may have this radio for a few years, or I may, sell it, or may give it away, or may do whatever. I don't know. Apparently these come out. Someone told me that you can pull them out, but I haven't been able to, and I don't want to break it. So I don't really care how that looks, as long as it's functional, which it is.
Of course, many Republicans have been urging Biden to take executive action. It was one of the reasons they cited for not.
Let's see if we can get a local station here. It's the only one I really spend lots of time listening to.
Went out of business. All of the kids who fell behind in reading, writing, arithmetic, because they were grasping for straws. I have said and continue to believe that for a time, you had to show these people some grace, because we were dealing with a virus no one had experienced before. These were the experts. This was their moment.
Fine.
We should have relied on their expertise in the beginning to help get us situated.
The whole
but it
tape
became
is
clear
vibrating
6
with the
months in,
bass.
if not sooner,
It's funny. No.
that many of them were beginning to exercise too much control over too many aspects of our lives. And many of the politicians in America were willing to abdicate responsibility to the experts so they themselves couldn't get blamed.
Isn't that typical with politicians? They never take the blame for anything, yet something's always someone else's fault. Anyway, we now have a working radio from 1936 with probably more money than it's worth in parts, with a new speaker, new output transformer, a new power transformer, and everything underneath pretty much replaced. Yeah. Oh, cabinet has been completely redone, basically. So, I don't know. I don't even know. I was starting to lose interest in this, but now that I hear it play, it's nice. It's actually pretty nice, and I'm actually kind of excited about putting it back together.
Traveling westbound on the
Here's the
Staten Island Expressway,
Zenith.
very busy on Victory Boulevard area as you travel, continuing to travel from Highland Boulevard, and then more
Plays
delays
pretty
as you
well.
travel on the...
Check that up. I don't have a very good antenna on it. Just this piece of wire here.
Multiple third-party systems to...
Time suppressing the lab leak theory, number one. Now he's saying it is.
I'll go to P...
Alignment probably isn't quite right.
Sorry.
Yeah, probably could help.
느끼지만은 하나님께로부터 오는 contract. He's a pass rusher. He's going to get after the quarterback no matter what, whatever happens this offseason.
660.
We still have to spend that, and well, it's usually plus, and I'm sure all your listeners are going through this right now during the budget process. The schools are all, fund our schools. I'm like, you're kind of being funded. It's interesting if you look at the difference between the in-classroom spending and like the out-of-classroom spending, the bureaucratic overhead. We're like in the top in the country for what we spend in this overhead, and we actually even beat New York. We spend almost $9,000 per pupil.
Fan switch.
So the cost you found per pupil, top $9,000.
Sounds pretty good though, even with the aftermarket
It's
third-party speaker.
$870,000, but per year.
Area, states, and nationwide, of course, at the yankeeinstitute.org. Megan, thank you. Listen, I will light a candle. I'm Greg Rice. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM. Evan and Tiki on this nut.
$1 settlement to cover current and future claims. They can vote starting this week. Cannabis and beer do mix, according to a new merger pitch. The Wall Street Journal says the CEO of cannabis producer Green Thumb reached out Sunday to his counterpart at Sam Adams maker Boston Beer. On Wall Street, the averages are higher, but most stocks are not. The Dow up 140 points, the NASDAQ up 28, the S&P's up 8 points. With money news at 25 and 55 on WCBS.